once again, the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl. Here's more from Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like losing any games. So every loss, I feel like, is tough. But we always had everything we wanted in front of us, and we had that mindset. And Coach Reed preaches that every single day we come into the building. And no one hung their head, and everybody was ready to go. And now we're going to the Super Bowl, and like I said, we're not done.
I mean, how can we ever doubt him, okay? Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs controlled this game from start to finish. Mahomes has now thrown 203 passes in the playoffs since his last interception dating back to last year. That's the third longest streak without a pick in NFL postseason history. Chiefs fans are knocking on wood. That's okay. He can tie Brady's record with 34 more attempts without a pick in the Super Bowl. So again, no turnovers, only 241 yards through the air. Mina, how was Mahomes able to get it done yesterday?
First, I want to echo something Dan said on Friday. Don't take this for granted. 4 Super Bowls in 5 years is insane.
Ridiculous.
And it happens because of his evolution, ongoing evolution as a quarterback. And what you saw in this game is what you've really seen from him the last couple of years, which is he is ruthlessly efficient. After the first drive, the Ravens defense really tightened up, and he wasn't carving them up downfield. But he was taking what was given to him, being opportunistic about his shots, and most importantly, Laura, avoiding mistakes. Over the last 2 weeks, to my eye, Patrick Mahomes is the only quarterback in the NFL who either hasn't thrown an interception or thrown a ball that should have been intercepted. Yeah. He is so careful with the football, and I know we love the dazzling plays and the highlights, but that to me is as worth highlighting as anything we see from these quarterbacks right now.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to me in particular. I thought I was going to bet big because we going to Vegas for the Super Bowl and just walked away looking dumb as hell because I knew Patrick Mahomes was the quarterback for Kansas City. And the thing that I loved about him, and obviously y'all talk about this every postseason, is how quick he is to just go get a first down and create opportunities with his legs. And this is one of those situations where we've seen quarterbacks, especially the one on the other side, just try to hold the ball. And then 2 plays here that I think stuck out to me. Creed Humphrey had no idea he had 2 bad snaps in a row. Why? Because Patrick Mahomes is poised. And that's something that I watch, Dio and RC talk about this morning. MK just alluded to it. The calm. KD got a picture on his, Kevin Durant has a picture on his Twitter of a dude standing on the wall with like 1,000 knives pointed at his face. And he just is calm and cool and collected. And that's how Pat Mahomes plays football. And I don't think he gets enough credit because he makes tremendous plays. And it's always something to capture your mind. But the poise that he displayed was the best thing to me in the whole game.
Yeah, Kevin Durant doesn't have a picture of Patrick Mahomes with the knives in his face. Maybe he should. RC, let's take a minute to look at the Chiefs defense. They hold Baltimore under 100 yards on the ground, come up big with some turnovers. What do you like about that game plan?
Well, I think what we have to start being able to recognize about this Kansas City Chiefs defense is it reminds me of Tom Brady's New England offenses where they can morph it to anything they need to each week based off of who they're playing, but still keep an authentic identity to who they are. You think about L'Jarius Sneed, that's going to travel with the #1 wide receiver, Trent McDuffie in the slot, who's a tackler, a blitzer, and also figuring out ways to have integrity in their rush. And think so also about the physicality of the safeties this week. I thought that Steve Spagnuolo's plan was absolutely phenomenal. And the other thing was every guy in each piece understood their role to a T. The best of teams are going to have your superstars. You're going to have the Chris Joneses who make the huge splash plays, the L'Jarius Sneeds, but you're also going to have the McDuffies, you're going to have the Williams, you're going to have the Karlaftis, and all those pieces fit so well together, and they were able to dictate to the Baltimore Ravens who they wanted them to be, not the other way around.
It's funny to hear you say, like, the Patriots offense, because Spags was the best coach in football this weekend, and I feel he called defense like an offensive coordinator. And the way that they played different personnel groupings to dictate to Baltimore, they played 6 different personnel groupings, a couple of them 3-2-6. So 3 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers, and 6 defensive backs. They place speed on the defensive field, and everybody can play man-to-man coverage, but also have speed after Lamar Jackson. Tight coverage, ball comes out. Then they go to 3-3-5. 3 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, and 5 defensive backs. That allows, again, certain coverages to be played, the rotations being perfect, man-to-man coverage with pressure, and everybody in speed to keep Lamar exactly where they want, in the pocket, but also quick enough to get after them. 4-1-6, 4 defensive linemen, 1 backer, and 6 defensive backs. The communication, the ability to play in lockstep. You're playing cover 2 with underneath coverage by defensive backs and secondary players, and then again rallying around Lamar Jackson. The different ways that he took those personnels on different situations. They played, I think, 57 snaps on defense yesterday. 51 of them had at least 5 defensive backs on the field, but the different formations with defensive linemen, backers, and defensive backs, it was like an offense dictating personnel.
And the other piece to it was, though, that it was positionless. We often talk about defenses that way, but they had so many guys that could either play high, the linebacker level, corner, and I think that made it difficult for Lamar to be able to detect what they were playing.
How do you figure it out? Go, Mina.
Please, MK,
Sorry,
say it.
I don't want to.
Please say it.
I'm hearing Dan be
Please.
like 5 DBs, 6 DBs, showing them in
No
dime,
doubt.
and I'm just sitting here going, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. I'm sorry. It was Marcus will talk about it later. It was infuriating.
Marcus's head was blowing up. It's okay. We're going to talk about that later, so you don't want to miss it.
He
You will
looks so
see him spontaneously
exasperated.
combust on live
come on,
So
television.
mad.
Breathe, big fella.
He hates it when they don't run.
Well, the playoffs are the stories of rich men and wealthy men. A rich man makes plays all regular seasons. A wealthy man makes plays in the playoffs. Rich men, they just live a short while. Wealthy men, they become legends.
I'm in poetry to start it off. All right, we are going to watch basically the game-sealing plays from each vantage point. Lamar Jackson and his interception, and then Patrick Mahomes, the MVS, to seal the game. So they're in really 2-minute drill. Bottom of the screen, they're going to try to take a shot. Real quick, they're going to go double move to Bateman. Now, Lamar Jackson, when he gets his snaps or sees, I'm trying to take a shot right now, and he's peeking down at the bottom
Right, well,
screen.
the first thing, too, also look at L'Jarius Sneed. He already understands that play can't beat him, so he's pushed deep before even paying attention to what Rashad Bateman is going to do.
And if you're Lamar Jackson and you're peeking this way, Bateman sits it down and he's going to go double move. And to your point, Sneed never actually bites. So you're trying to get your quarterback, even though we're in 2 minutes, in almost panic mode to get off of that to a secondary receiver. Now what happens is when Lamar's peeking that way, this safety starts to drive backside as likely he's trying to signify, hey, I've beaten my 2 underneath
Right,
defenders.
and this is one of those times that's going to be very difficult for Lamar Jackson. You have to take the sure thing or use your legs to create, because you have triple coverage there, because without Odell Beckham Jr. pushing Bush backside, he can push straight to Isaiah Likely.
You're exactly right. Odell not getting necessarily urgency downfield allows that safety to go over. Now, I think part of what happens here is Likely thinks he wins, right? Likely beats his 2 underneath guys, doesn't see that backside safety, throws up to hand, and Lamar loses vision of that backside safety, ends up being a huge pick for Kansas City. Now, contrast that to Patrick Mahomes. Got to have a situation essentially to end the game, finds MVS down the field. They did this so often yesterday.
And now, first off, here's where it starts, though.
Okay.
Think about the design of Todd Monken's play, right?
Yeah.
It was either we're going to go to the double move or let's get all the way back to the seam by Likely.
Yeah.
What they were doing for as far as Kansas City throughout every third down, they continued to target Travis Kelce in man-to-man situations. So they're going to take Marcus Williams out of the middle of the field and give a cut call up top to Kyle Hamilton.
Now, what does cut mean then?
Cut means if we get a crosser right now, we're going to pull Williams out the top, and then we're going to push to the post with Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happens. Now, me as an offensive coordinator, Andy Reid, Matt Nagy, I'm trying to design a play for the guy that has become old reliable for me, but also handle some of the protection issues. What they do is this. They have Kelce help with chips. That's been a huge story this season as it's gone on. And then they're going to go, hey, Rashee Rice, we want you versus man coverage to go crosser and MVS. If you win down the field, great. Now, here's the thing. This ball gets snapped, and you can see Patrick Mahomes see this safety, and he starts to have vision. I don't know exactly if it's cover 11 double or 88 combo, but it looks like they're trying to
here's
double
what happens,
Rice.
right? Marcus Williams gets the chip, and after getting the chip, he feels like he can help. His body position takes away Rashee Rice right now, but it's the outside leverage of Arthur Millette that gets him in trouble.
Yeah, and that's a fantastic job by MVS of seaming inside, and then Patrick realizes that low defender, safety-wise, is cutting either Kelce or Rice. Backside, you got Kyle Hamilton there.
Yep.
The middle of the field is absolutely vacated. This is what I love about Patrick Mahomes on this play. Because if Mollett does a really good job here of undercutting and Patrick throws a firm ball right now, he's got a chance to like slingshot or undercover. That ball has to be thrown with great trajectory to MVS to make sure that that nickel doesn't undercut.
What I also love what he did as well was he straightened MVS up. Like if you watch MVS, he has a trajectory that's going to take him across the field toward the numbers. Watch the pass by Patrick Mahomes, straighten him up, and now Mollett has to get in a trail position instead of being able to get to that hip.
Fantastic.
When you look at Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson in that moment, it tells you how important execution is to championships. And it's no reason or it's no wonder that that team's been to 4 in 5 years.
Man.
I love that. Dan in our seat back at the touch. Let's get to the Ravens, you guys, and what happened with their offense yesterday. Running backs for the Ravens non-existent in this game. They rushed 6 times for just 23 yards, including just 2 rushes for 5 yards in the second half. 5 yards, that's crazy. That was not the script for the Ravens in their first 18 games this season. Baltimore running backs averaged nearly 22 rushes with 101 yards per game this season entering Sunday. So, Marcus, naturally, we got to go to you first on this. So what do you make of an offensive game plan that was so pass-heavy for Baltimore? Poor Swag.
You know what's been so frustrating, honestly, like, and Dio and RC just did it. I've heard all of this talk about how phenomenal the Chiefs' defense was, and they were. But Todd Monken said, I'm going to make it easy for y'all.
Ooh.
I'm going to show you spread formation and shotgun all game long, and I'm going to allow the best secondary in football to play defense the way they want to. I'm going to allow you to play with whoever you want to put on the field, and you just have your way. Spags, that's what Todd Monken told him. We keep talking about it. And Lamar Jackson absolutely deserves the energy that I'm going to give him for the rest of the week, because he had some opportunities that he didn't take trying to play against Patrick Mahomes instead of the damn Kansas City Chiefs defense. But Todd Monken, listen, man, I gave the man credit all season long. I gave him credit. I talked about how the younger generation OCs was doing a good job, and he did it. Todd Monken was the culprit when it comes to offense for the Baltimore Ravens.
Tell him how you really feel.
I know we short on time. We got the rest of the week. That's bull crap.
Bull
crap, bro.
Yeah, Bull Jones.
Tell him why you're mad, son.
Like solving a game of Clue. Yeah, okay. So he made his life easier by not running the ball, and I would say both him and Lamar Jackson made their lives easier by forcing the ball downfield. I want to go back to just last week after the Texans game, where I was talking about how Monken and Jackson worked so well together to solve the blitz in the second half. So against the blitz in that game, Lamar averaged 5.8 air yards per attempt. In this game against the blitz, over 10 yards per attempt, needlessly forcing the ball outside the numbers downfield when, as Dan Orlovsky pointed out in just the last block, the Chiefs were playing a ton of dime personnel. It wasn't just that they didn't run the ball, it was that they didn't take what was available underneath. It was a befuddling game plan, befuddling execution from the quarterback. I'm still really not over it either, Marcus.